Jai with this prayer, which we just sang. That was, by the mercy of the Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross mountains. As advised by Lord Brahma, one should remember this Shastric injunction if one desires success in this life. So thank you everybody for assembling you here today. I am very grateful and honored to discuss the glories of two of the most eminent Vaishnavi Acharyas in our Sampradaya. So can you guess who will we be talking about today? Any guesses from the newcomers? Okay, from the old is gold. Who are we discussing today? Sita Mata, and the other one? Mother Jhanava. So we'll come to that, but first let us start with discussing the glories of Mother Sita. So, as you all know, Mother Sita is also an expansion of Srimati Radharani. So Valmiki, who was the author of Ramayana, he has called Ramayana as Sitaya Charitam Mahat. Do you know what is that? It's thank you. So it is the noble story of the glories of Mother Sita. That's what he calls Ramayana. So, as you all know, Sita was the daughter of Bhumi. Bhumi is Mother Earth. Mother Earth. So, she was the daughter of Bhumi, and her father, Janak Maharaj, he was a Raj Rishi. Now, do any of you all know what's a Raj Rishi? Raj Rishi is a great saintly king. And he's considered to be one of the 12 Mahajans. Do you all know Mahajans? They are the great authorities who are in the succession of Lord Krishna. So why was he called a Mahajan? Because he achieved perfection simply by the performance of his prescribed duties. That's why he was called Mahajan. Okay, so the birth of Sita Mata, I'm sure everybody is acquainted with that. But still, because we are celebrating her appearance day, so we will discuss about that. So the story of the birth goes like this, that Father Janak, who is the father of Sita, he was performing a sacrifice, which is called a yajna. And in that yajna, there was a part where he had to plow the fields. So the plow which he used, to plow his fields, that was called Sita. And when he was plowing the field, the plow just hit upon a golden chest. And from that chest came a beautiful, effulgent, bright little baby girl. And who was she? Sita. So Sita was instantly adopted by Janak Maharaj. And he also had another daughter who's called, any guesses? Urmila, yes. And they had cousins. What were the names of their cousins? Mandavi and Shrutagiti. And all these four ladies, they were married to Sri Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna. Okay, everybody is a scholar here. What am I doing here? Okay, so that's the story of the birth of Mother Sita. So, yesterday and the day before when I was preparing for this class, I was meditating on the qualities of Srimati Sita Mata, which really inspired me. So, anybody could just say a few qualities which they can think of instantly when they think of Sita? Yes, anyone? Loyalty, humility, what else?
Pativrata,
chaste, yes, that's very nice. Devotional to Lord Ram. What else? Okay, so I have made 7 points to sum it up all, and I have covered all of your points. What a coincidence. So the first quality of Mother Sita was that she was very determined and steadfast in serving Lord Ram in all situations. We see she's gone through so much, but in every situation, she had this firm faith and dedication in the service of Lord Ram. She was peaceful in all circumstances. And in fact, it is said that she used to always think of Ram in her heart. And Sita constantly thought of reuniting with Lord Ram when she was in the Ashok Vatika, trapped in the palace of Ravan. And she was as inseparable from Lord Ram as the sun from sunshine. And she was undivided in her devotion and attention to Lord Ram. So those are the qualities which we can learn from Sita Mata. Okay, so the next quality is fearless. Did you know Sita Mata, she was just not a frail little old girl, just very weakling. She was not a weakling, she was very fearless and strong. So when Ravan had trapped Sita Mata in his palace, at that time, he used to entice her with his eloquent poetry and his intelligence and charm. But Sita Mata, she was so fearless that she used to reprimand Ravan. She knew that Ravan could kill her because she was all by herself. She didn't have protection then. But she was fearless. Okay, so this is the quality which I really like about Sita Mata, and that's being virtuous and chaste. So there's a story when Hanumanji, when he comes as a messenger to Ashok Vatika in Ravan's palace. Everybody's heard of that story. So Hanumanji presents a ring of Sri Ram and he gives her the message of Sri Ram. And then he offers her that why don't you just jump on my back and then both of us can just fly back to where Sri Ram is. So Sita Mata, she's happy. She's happy to listen to that, but then she informs Hanumanji that thank you for your offer, but no, I will wait for Sri Ram to arrive. And I've taken a vow that nobody can touch me because I'm so chaste to my husband and my Lord Sri Ram. So Ravan, he took me by force and therefore I couldn't do anything. But I have a choice of just waiting for Sri Ram, and I'm sure he'll come. So that's the chastity of Mother Sita. And a quality which really stands out in her character is that of forgiveness and being compassionate. So there are 3 stories which I would like to tell, and I'm sure some of you may have heard some stories of these 3 stories. So, you all have heard of Shurpanakha? Shurpanakha, the witch who was Ravan's sister? Yes, even the children have heard of her. Very nice. So, when Shurpanakha arrived in Nashik, that's a place in India where it is famous because Shurpanakha's nose and ears were chopped off by Lakshman. So at that time, because Sita Mata was over there, she was present in that place, the potency of her forgiveness was such that Lakshman didn't kill her. Like for all the other demons, Taraka and Marich and all the other demons, Khar, Dushan, everybody was killed by Ram and Lakshman. But Shurpanakha, only her nose and ears were cut off because those represent false pride, prestige and beauty. So that was cut off by Lakshman. She was not killed just because Sita Mata was over there. Second story is that when Hanumanji comes as a messenger to Sita Mata to inform her that Ram is feeling separation of you and why don't you come back. So at that time, Hanumanji gives the ring to Sita Mata and he informs her that this is like a token from my Lord for you. And can you, in return, give me something so that I can tell Lord Ram that I met you and no one else? So then she tells of a story when they were in the exile. Okay, children, thank you. So she tells a story when she was in the exile of that's Vanvas. She and Lord Ram and Lakshman, they were given an exile of 14 years by Queen Kaikai. So during that time, just one fine day, Sita Mata and Sri Ram were relaxing. They were resting in the forest. And then Indra. Do you all know Indra? Who's Indra? He is the demigod of the rain who showers rain. So Indra's son, his name is, any guesses? Jayant. So Jayant, he had such mystic powers with him that he could take the form of a crow. So he came as a crow, as a dark, ugly crow, and then with his claws, he started scratching Sita Mata's chest. And Sita Mata felt the pain, but she didn't complain because Sri Ram was resting on her lap. Okay, so after that, she didn't complain, but Sri Ram, he noticed that Sita Mata's chest is bleeding. And immediately, what he did is that he just picked up a blade of dhruva grass and then he shot it in the direction of the crow. Now, because Sri Ram did that, the potency of that blade of grass was equal to that of a Brahmastra. Have you all heard of a Brahmastra? Not the movie. Okay, so that blade of grass went following the crow all over the universe. The crow, that's Jayant, he thought that I'll be relieved from that Brahmastra following me, or otherwise it will kill me. So he went to Indralok, he went to Brahmalok, he went to all the heavenly and the hellish planets trying to get relief from that. But nothing happened, it kept following him. So finally, he got so fatigued that he came back to Sita Mata and he repented for what he'd done. He begged forgiveness. And Sita Mata, because she's also known as Jagat Mata, Jagatarani, that means she's the mother of the entire universe. So she told Sri Ram that he's my son, like all other living entities. So we should forgive him. And Sri Ram forgave the crow, but then because he'd already released the arrow in the form of a blade of grass, it couldn't be retrieved back. So that is why it hurt the eye of Jayant. And that's why Jayant was always blind in one eye after that. So that story was told by Sita Mata to Hanumanji to let him know that this story is known only by Sri Ram and herself. Nobody else in the entire universe knows the story. Now all of you do, because I just told you. So that's the second instance of her forgiving character. And the third instance is when the battle between Ram and Ravan and all the monkeys had finished, Ravan died, and Sri Ram was victorious. After that, Hanumanji goes to Ashok Vatika and he just wants to inform Sita of the good news. So he tells Sita that your Ram is victorious in battle and Ravan is dead. So Sita Mata is so happy, and she tells Hanumanji, oh Hanuman, you've given me such good news that I don't know what to give you. I do not have anything to give you. So Hanumanji says, oh Mata, I am so pleased that I could reunite you and Sri Ram. That's the biggest pleasure of my life. What else do I need? But he said that I don't want want anything from you, but I ask for something. Let me kill all these demonesses, the Rakshashis, who have tormented you for 1 year. But Sita Mata, again her picture of forgiveness comes forward. And she says, "Oh Hanuman, I will tell you another story. But before that, I must tell you something," she said. So, okay, please don't talk, sorry, it just disturbs my thought process, the continuity. Thank you. So, Sita Mata, she says that these Rakshashis, the demonesses, they didn't act according to their own karma. They were acting on behalf of their master who was cruel, Ravan. So they were just following his orders. So they are not to be blamed for tormenting me. And then she speaks of a lovely story, which I really like and I wanted to share with you. She tells Hanuman this story after the victory of Lord Ram. So she says that there were 3 characters. There was a tiger, there was a bear, and there was a hunter. So once the tiger started following a hunter, started chasing him, and in the middle of the night. And the hunter, he climbed up a tree on which a bear was resting. Now the tiger couldn't climb the tree. So he called out to the bear and said, "This man, this hunter, is a common mutual enemy for both of us. Why don't you throw him down and he'll be a prey because I'm the predator." So the bear, because he had a forgiving and compassionate nature, he told the tiger, "He's not my enemy, he's a guest and he's taken shelter of my tree today. So it's my responsibility to take care of him instead of throwing him as a prey for you." So the tiger, he got frustrated and then he turned towards the hunter and he said, "Look, in any ways, I'm going to either eat you or the bear. So it's up to you to decide. You want to come down or you want to kick the bear so that falls down and then I'll be satisfied and you can walk home happily." So because this hunter was cunning, he kicked the bear. And the bear slipped from the branch. But because he was a bear, he had these reflexes by which he could grasp another branch immediately. And then he did not retaliate with the man that, "Oh, I saved you and now look what you have done." He didn't do any of that. He quietly went off to sleep. Now the tiger got really frustrated and furious. And again he called out to the bear, "Look at this ungrateful man, what he's done. You tried to save him. And in turn, he was so ungrateful that he kicked you so that you fall down." So the bear, what the bear says is very important. Even if you've not heard the rest of the story, this is very important. The bear says that my guest may have some inappropriate behavior, but that doesn't have to change the way I look at things, that doesn't, if I am forgiving and compassionate, I will always be forgiving and compassionate. So that was Sita Mata's mood towards the Rakshashis, towards the demonesses. And I found that very sweet. So, yes, and Sita Mata, as all of you know, she was very, very grateful. So when Hanumanji, Sri Ram, and all the monkeys and Sita Mata, they're all reunited and they were back in Ayodhya. At that time, Sita Mata, from her heart, she wanted to give Hanumanji She wanted to give Hanumanji the best and most exquisite gift which she'd ever had. And that was a necklace which was given to her by Lord Ram. So she removed the necklace from the neck and she put it on Hanumanji's neck. And the last quality which I have listed over here is faith in the protection offered by Lord Sri Ram. We just discussed that in the earlier points, that she never lost faith. Even though she was in the most difficult circumstances, she had this faith that Sri Ram will come and rescue me. So I really like that about Mother Sita Katha. So before we go on to the next personality, discussing about her glorious pastimes, we'll have a very short kirtan glorifying Mother Sita. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Bhaj pyare tu Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram Bhaj pyare tu Sita Ram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Okay, so that was a discussion of a few of the glories of Sita Mata, and then we go to the next personality who also appeared on the same day, and her name is Jhanava. So does anybody know who's Jhanava? Who's the illustrious Jhanava? What is her identity? Somebody, come on.
She's the disciple of Prabhupada.
No, that must be somebody else in this disciplic succession. What? So what we're talking about is actually the original Jhanava. No copyright.
She's wife of Nityananda.
She's the eternal consort of Lord Nityananda. Who's Lord Nityananda? He's standing over there. Gaur and Nitai. So she's the eternal consort of Nityananda Prabhu, and she's also known as Nityananda Swarupini, as she overflows with prem bhakti towards Lord Nityananda. And it is said that she delivered many atheists and sinners by her compassionate nature. So there were two daughters of a person, and his name was Suryadas Sarkhela. He was an accountant of the king in where he lived, in Shaligram. It's a place in Bengal. So those two daughters, their names were Vasudha and Jhanava. And if you've read the called Gonadesh Dipika, which is written by Kavi Karnapurna, he writes that these two personalities were actually Varuni and Revati in Krishna Lila. They are the eternal consorts of Lord Balramji. And Jhanava Mata is also an incarnation of Anang Manjari. Have any of you heard of Anang Manjari? Who's Anang Manjari? Yes, thank you, Adidevi Mataji. So Anang Manjari was Krishna's younger sister in Krishna Lila, and she was very close to Radharani. Sorry, she was Radharani's younger sister in Krishna Lila, and she was very, very attached to Radharani. She assisted Radharani in her pastimes with Krishna. So that same Anang Manjari comes as Jhanava Mata. And there is also another important identification of Jhanava Mata. Can anybody guess? She has an uncle who is very famous. Gauridas Pandit of Ambika Kalna. So if you want to read more about that, please open up your Chaitanya Charitamrita and start reading. So the story goes like this, that once in a dream, their father, that's Suryadas Sarkela, he got a dream where he saw the most effulgent, beautiful, as you can see here, most effulgent and beautiful Shri Nitai Sundar, Nitai Chandra, and besides him, on both sides, were standing his two wives, one Vasudha and one Jhanava. That is, his two daughters were standing as his two wives. So immediately he decided that this is the personality, this effulgent personality, I'm going to marry my daughters with him. And that happened. And later, as time passed, Vasudha, she had 7 children who died untimely as babies. And the 8th child was known as, any guesses? Veerachandra. And he was the incarnation of Lord Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And they also had a girl child known as Ganga. Now Jhanava Mata did not have any children from her own womb, but she considers herself as the mother of these 2 children. And then as time passed, Vasudha left this world, Nityanand Prabhu left this world, and then Jhanava Mata, she herself took care of both the children. And later in life, the same Veerachandra, he took initiation from Jhanava Mata. At that time, there were no lady gurus, but because she was an empowered incarnation of the Lord's associate, because of that, because of her potency, Veerachandra took initiation from Jhanava Mata. There was this great Harinam festival, which was the first Gaur Purnima festival celebrated when Sri Gaurang Mahaprabhu had already left this world. So can anybody tell what was that place where this Maha Sankirtan was held? Any guesses? Kheturi. So after Lord Gaurachandra finished his earthly pastimes, the first Gaur Purnima festival was held in Kheturi under the guidance of whom? Narottam Das Thakur. Yes, that's right, Jhanava Mata. But Narottam Das Thakur organized everything under the supervision of Jhanava Mata. And there were these prominent personalities who had come to attend this Harinam Sankirtan. Of them, the renowned ones were Shyamanand Pandit, Srinivas Acharya, Vrindavan Das Thakur. And it is said that just by the presence of Mother Jhanava over there, the Harinam Sankirtan, which was conducted by Narottam Das Thakur, it was so tumultuous and it was with so much potency that Gaur, Nityananda, Advaitacharya, Srinivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, all of them appeared. They'd already left their material bodies. I mean, we shouldn't say material, they just left the planet. But all of them appeared over there just to dance, because that was the potency of that Harinam. Sometimes we should have Harinams like these over here, where Gauranga and Mahaprabhu and Nityan Prabhu can come and can join us in Harinam Sankirtan. That should be the power. So that was because Jhanava Mata was there. And it is said that Jhanava Mata, she was so expert at cooking that she cooked for all the attendees over there in the Harinam, and then she cooked for the deities. There were 6 deities installed in that festival, and she took great pleasure in cooking for every single person and serving them. So when we think that, cooking and serving for the devotees, that is for neophytes, sorry. Look at the example of Jhanava Mata, how we can learn from her, that in spite of her being a leader. So when I say about leader, she had these leadership qualities because after Gaurang Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu and all the associates that left the planet, there was nobody to lead the Gaudiya Vaishnava movement in Bengal and other parts of India. So she took up the leadership position, though being a woman, around 500 years ago from today. And she did it so efficiently. Her focus was to reunite the Gaudiya Vaishnavas in Vrindavan and in Bengal, because there are so many differences in these two clans. So that was her main focus when we talk about leadership qualities. So so that was the Kheturi festival, and after that Kheturi festival, it finished, everything was so nice, and then Jhanava Mata, she took the whole entourage of her devotees and disciples to Vrindavan. Now, do you know Bengal is in East India and Vrindavan is somewhere in North India? So it takes around 3 months if you go by foot and if you rest at different spots everywhere. So during her travels, wherever she went, she made devotees. So those devotees were made from, she made devotees of Muslims, dacoits, and all of these people who would never have imagined that we would become disciples of Jhanava Mata and devotees. They became devotees. So that was her potency. Lord Nityananda's Ladini Shakti. That's her strength. She's the internal potency of the Lord. And so Jhanava Mata, when she was going through one village, she came across, there were these Chandi worshippers. So Chandi is Mother Kali. So there were these worshippers of Chandi, and they were very envious of Jhanava Mata, that why should she get all the respect when Chandi is our worshipable goddess? So they go to the temple of Chandi in the middle of the night, and then they pray to Chandi that give us the strength and power to kill this Jhanava. So Chandi Mata, she's never done that before, but she appears from her deity form, and then she starts talking to all these blasphemers. She's like, oh foolish people, oh foolish followers of mine, I myself worship Jhanava Mata. She is my worshipable goddess. Go and beg forgiveness and take shelter of her lotus feet. And then all these Chandi worshippers also became devotees of Lord Krishna through Jhanava Mata. So that was the potency of Jhanava Mata. And then they did Harinam Sankirtan on their way to Vrindavan, and then they met a lot of the Goswamis who were still on the planet, like Bhugarbha Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Lokanath Goswami. Then they exchanged pleasantries, and then Jhanava Mata, she goes with these Goswamis to different temples, and she's got with a whole troop of devotees, and as we do Vrindavan Parikrama, like that she did Vrindavan Parikrama with the Goswamis, and she had got a lot of offerings for the temples, which she gave, a lot of deity dresses. She used to cook for the deities in the temple. And then finally, she goes to a very secret place. Does anybody know where is this? And what is this? Okay, I'll tell you. So she goes to a very secret place called Sri Radha Kund. So in Sri Radha Kund, she meets with Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami, for the newcomers, it may go a little tangential, but Raghunath Das Goswami is one of the followers of Lord Chaitanya. So she meets with Raghunath Das Goswami, and they have these most ecstatic exchanges, because Raghunath Das Goswami, in his eternal Swarup form, he is Rati Manjari, and Jhanava Mata is Ananga Manjari. So when Rati Manjari and Ananga Manjari meet, we as conditioned souls cannot contemplate on their transcendental talks. So they had all these scriptural discussions, and then in Radhakund, Jhanava Mata used to select a spot where she stood chant her rounds every day. And that spot is still there today, as you can see, and this is the place on the banks of Radhakund where Jhanava Mata would sit every day to chant japa during her stay at Radhakund, and this is called Jhanava Bethak. So Bethak means sitting place. And next to the Bethak is the place, as you can see, where Jhanava Mata would bathe in the sacred kund, this one. And the ghat was later named as Jhanava Ghat. And it is interesting to note that the exact spot where Jhanava Mata sat is a very location in Krishna's pastimes where a crystal staircase leads to the personal kunj of Anang Manjari, which is situated in the center of Radhakund. So that's very special, and if you go to Radhakund, you can see that today. So the final pastimes of Jhanava Mata is Jhanava Mata used to go on a pilgrimage in all the temples of Vrindavan, and once she went to the Gopinath temple in Vrindavan. So these deities are not in Vrindavan just now, they are in Jaipur. But she went to the Gopinath temple in Vrindavan, and there she noticed that Radharani, as you can see, is my cursor being seen? Probably not. You can see the little Radharani on the right side. Little Radharani. So she saw little Radharani over there, and she thought to herself, oh, this little deity is very small in proportion to Gopinath. She just, a thought just crossed her head. And then she's thinking to herself, oh, I'm such an offender. Who am I to comment on the size of the deity? Krishna is perfect in everything. So he's perfectly arranged Srimati Radharani of the size he wanted. So who am I to interfere? But then Gopinath comes in a dream to Jhanava Mata, and then he tells her in the dream that actually what you thought is right. I find Radharani too short for me. So why don't you prepare another deity whose size is proportionate to that of mine? And after a few nights, Radharani also comes in the dream of Jhanava Mata and sees the same thing. So that's like a confirmation. So she goes all the way back to Bengal, walking back, and then she gets a sculptor to prepare a deity for Gopinath, Radharani's deity. And it is said that there were so many trips which she did from Vrindavan and Bengal to and fro, but then on the last trip, she entered the Gopinath temple and she never came out. So it is said that she merged with the deity of Radharani, who was actually she was in the mood of that. So this particular temple in Jaipur, it is also called Ananga Kanai Rai. Anang Kanai Rai means Anang Manjari is there in the temple. Kanai is Krishna and Rai is a short name for Radharani. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he writes a very beautiful, we'll just end with this. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he has a prayer for Jhanava Mata. So if you like, I can just read it out. Having fallen in this ocean of misery, my life is a bewilderment, and I do not know how to reach its shore, nor even where to search for it. All my efforts are useless. All my knowledge is useless. As are mysticism, austerity, religious penances, and mundane piety. None of these processes have any power to rescue me. I am weak, helpless. I do not know how to swim across the ocean of ignorance. Who will deliver me from this dangerous predicament? Within this dangerous ocean of material existence, I see the crocodiles of sense gratification. Oh, sorry, this is going a little behind, but that's fine. I have my notes. What a terrible sight! Within this ocean, I'm tossed about by the turbulent waves which constantly boil and churn like a ship without a rudder. The impulses and urges that I've acquired from my previous births are like the wind that blows the ship in all directions. My mind is unsteady, the ship has no captain, no direction. I weep in despair, seeing that I cannot cross the ocean of misery. And there's a little more to it. I think that's not come. Oh yeah, it's there. It's here. So can we recite this together? O Jhanava Devi, today by the power of your divine qualities, be merciful to the servant of yours. Dispel this illusion which torments me. And relieve me of the anguish of material existence. Let me take shelter at your lotus feet.
Let me take shelter at your lotus feet.
For in this way,
For in this way,
I shall certainly cross over the ocean of birth and death.
I shall certainly cross over the ocean of birth and death.
You are Nityanand Shakti,
You are Nityananda Shakti,
the divine energy of Lord Nityanand himself.
the divine energy of Lord Nityananda himself.
You are the Guru of Krishna Bhakti.
You are the Guru of Krishna Bhakti.
Be merciful to me
Be merciful to me,
and grant me the shade of your holy lotus feet,
and grant me the shade of your holy lotus feet,
which are like a wish-fulfilling tree.
which are like a wish-fulfilling tree.
You have delivered countless abominable sinners.
You have delivered countless abominable sinners.
Please deliver me in the same way.
Please deliver me in the same way.
Today, this lowly sinner falls at your holy feet,
This lowly sinner falls at your holy feet,
praying for your mercy.
praying for your mercy.
Shri Jhanava Mata Ki
Jai.
So this was written by Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur in Kalyan Kalpatura, which is a scripture, and you can refer to that. And he's praying to the lotus feet of Jhanava Devi. Okay, last thing I want to take. I won't take more than 5 minutes, promise. That's the disappearance day, which was also yesterday, of Madhupandit Goswami. Some of us have heard about him and some of us haven't. So, have you heard of Vajranab? Who was Vajranab? Krishna's great grandson, that's right. So, Krishna's great grandson Vajranab, he installed most of the eminent deities which we see today in Vrindavan, those were installed by him. So, he installed the Gopinath deity in Vrindavan, the same Gopinath deity which we saw a couple of slides ago. That's the same one. So, this Gopinath deity was installed by him 5,000 years ago, but in course of time, they were hidden. And 500 years ago, this deity was excavated from the earth at the Vamshivat on the banks of the Yamuna by Paramanandan Bhattacharya. And Madhupandit Goswami, he worshipped these deities. So who was Madhupandit Goswami? He was actually this disciple of Gadadhar Pandit, who is one of the Panchatattva. And he was a scholar. He had read and memorized all the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was the one, and his samadhi is, as you can see over here, it is in the courtyard of the Radha Gopinath temple in Vrindavan. But all these deities, the original ones, have been now shifted to to Jaipur. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he writes, sorry, not Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Ratnakar mentions that Sri Gopinath Ji, who is an ocean of mercy, forever sports along the enchanting banks of the Yamuna at Vamsivat. His bodily luster steals the mind of whoever sees him. When the soothing sweetness of Gopinath's charming form enters the heart, it immediately extinguishes the burning fire of material existence. Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Shri Madhupandit Goswami Maharaj ki, Shri Sita Maiya ki, Shri Jhanava Mata ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Gurudev Maharaj ki. So just one last point, how we connect all the three stories. That's my own, this is a disclaimer, this is not written in any of the scriptures. But all of these appearances and disappearances appear on the same day, and I feel they're all connected because Sita Mata is not different than Srimati Radharani. She is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. And Anang Manjari, who is Jhanava Mata, so close to Radharani. So they are connected. And then there's Gopinath deities. So then Madhupandit Goswami is also connected to the story. So it's all like a chain. It's all a connection. We just have to draw the lines. So thank you very much, and thank you. Very grateful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Grace Gita Jayanti Mata ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai. Pushpanjali Sita Maiya.